Do you want to promote your business on Zambia Blog Talk Radio? Yes, that's right. Live on Zambia Blog Talk Radio. To book your spot, just make a donation by picking from the following categories. To get started, just call or WhatsApp the number on the screen and you'll be good to go. Live on Zambia Blog Talk Radio every Saturday for 1 full month. And it will stay on the recorded shows.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you're catching us from. Is it Canada? Good morning. Is it the US? Is it Zambia? Good evening. Welcome to Zambia Blog Talk Radio. We have yet another exciting segment. Just to give everybody a recap, last week, Saturday, we had a team of awesome ladies that have come up with a show called Insaka based in the US. It is yet another great day, the 29th of January 2022. And today, Mr. Nathan Nkama, obviously, since he's grooming me to take over, he's like, Kasulu, you're going alone today. Uncle Roger as well. Yeah, I miss them, but they're with me, I know. We are joined by one and only Davison Zimba. Welcome, Davi.
Thank you very much, sir. Glad to be here. Thank you, Kasilua.
So it is great to have you. Davison Zimba has Davison Zimba has an initiative, quite an innovative one, where he has a company called Smart Parking Services Limited. This is a mobile app that eases parking situations in the country. I'll not talk much. Let's get to listen to the innovator himself. Darby, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. How's it that side? How's the weather?
The weather is chilled. Still waiting to see if Anna is finding us, but we thank God that we're in safe hands. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. We were all wondering to say, okay, so Anna is coming. How is Anna going to come when we don't have a sea coast? But I mean, it's possible, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But
The first,
we're good.
awesome. So the first question, obviously, that I have, and I'm sure the viewers out there would also like to know is, who is Dabi San El Zimba? In brief,
Okay.
how would you describe yourself?
Well, thank you. That's usually a very hard question to answer, but I'll try to be as brief as possible. So my full name is Dabison Zimba. I come with an accounting background. I'm currently working for a professional firm in the assurance line of service. And well, besides my professional work, I see myself as an emerging leader, and I always try to find opportunity to see how best I can serve my country. So in summary, I'm just an individual trying to strike a balance between my professional work as well as my community service.
Nice. Emerging leader trying to bring about change. Awesome. The other question, obviously, then would be what drives you? Because then you have made mention the passion that you have for the country, Zambia, I believe. What then drives you?
Uh, thanks, Casilo, for that question. So I think I always try and tap the drive from the energy around me, and having been in Zambia my entire life, it's always it's sort of always a task on me to say, okay, how best can I be of help to the community? And when you see around, Zambia being a land of plenty, yet we're still, trying to be a growing economy. It only takes up, the energetic youth to be out there, to bring themselves out, to play their part and contribute to the economic drive for the drive the agenda. So when it comes to the drive, it's really me personally as taking on the responsibility to play my part in bettering my community. So usually the drive comes from the community that I live around. Yeah.
I like how it's all about you bringing change and all that. Many youths and the young people complain, and then they're saying, no, the conditions are not favorable, the government is not giving us this, or there's no that. How
Yeah.
come with you, you're only talking about what you can do? Is
Okay.
everything in place, as in, uh, you know?
Okay. I honestly believe that we all have a role to play. Yeah. So the professionals like myself, I have a day job that I go to every Monday to Friday, trying to survive. But sometimes it's also looking at the other group that are unable to have that job. Like, what is it that they can do and contribute? And needless to say that every one of us has got a part to play, be it in the working class or people just in the community, even just being a voluntary, playing roles to say to help your church, help your community with cleaning. That's also something that is going to bring sanity to your community. So it's not really about always looking for the job. Well, you have to have a plan in place and you have to see where you best fit. And that's the area that you need to really work and develop on. That's usually my philosophy that I try and see if really it's something that can be adopted. Yeah.
Hmm. Well said. Awesome. You have made mention to say you have a day job, an accounting job that is. So then it brings in the question, because now the viewers would want to know what smart parking services is. But before that, seeing that you do not have any engineering or science background, yours is business. What prompted then for you? What prompted you to go into it's a science or engineering related invention?
Oh, well, it's really a crazy one, huh? I'll put it this way. I think growing up, I've always had passion for accounting. That has always been, straight from high school to uni and eventually entering into the accounting firms. But when it comes to things to do with my community, I had to look at the area which I had experience with, because we always learn from the experiences around us. And I do remember after completing my university life, I stayed with my cousin, a very phenomenal woman. She's a business lady, and most of the time she'd try and ask me to accompany her in town to get some goods which would eventually sell. And I'd see the stress of her, trying to park. Every time she would be struggling where to park, come back, you find her mirrors are gone. And I would always see that pain in her. And I was like, well, why is this problem actually not being solved at this stage? You have the Lusaka City Council playing their part, but just isn't enough parking spaces. Then I was just young. It was just an idea in the head. And, I would go back to university after we closed, come back. And eventually I started to develop that mentality, say, I think I need to do a bit of research around this area. How possible can the parking problem be solved? And with a lot of research nowadays, this is an information, there's a lot of information around there. I came across a very, very interesting subject of the parking management industry. And then that's where I got the drive. Started to dig more. That's how come I got to like-minded colleague of mine. She's very great, Precious Gozwa, and we started building up this idea. And when uni was done, I took it upon myself to make sure that at least we take a step further. So from there now, knowing that I had an accounting background, it was now a task of me to look for a technical team that I would work with to to be able to execute. You always have people around you. You don't necessarily have to be a tech savvy or a person who is good with coding, but it's just you having the right team around you. And I found one. And here I am now with a great team ready to execute this dream that I once had 3 4 years ago.
So what you're saying is that this did not start now. It's an idea that was there during university days, you say?
Y- Yes, even way before that, around 2012, 13, when I had just finished uni, because I think high school had finished 2011. So around 2012, 2013, that's when I started imagining about this process. Yeah.
Awesome. Then the time that you were in school, it was just an idea, or maybe you started discussing and maybe finding ways sharing with the colleague that you've mentioned to us.
Okay. Yes. So when I got to uni, the first thing that I took was settling in first. I was just coming from a private school, and most of us were bullied. Say I come from a trust school, and you were not really, you didn't have that experience high school like the Kablonga boys. So it
You
took a
weren't
bit
like
of time for.
us who came
Yes,
from
the
those government schools.
Budali,
Yeah.
Kablonga boys. So I was
Yeah.
sort of chilled and getting used to the CBU environment, and I was like, okay, I'll just dedicate part of this first year settling in. Then in my second year now, that's when I started to look around, friends around me, and it sort of happened that friends around me were I think yourself, Joseph, Precious, and that's how come I got to initiate the conversation, and eventually it's only Precious and I who said, "Oh, I think this can work. Let's do it." And we started building on from that. Yeah, from there.
Okay. Wonderful. It's really inspiring and encouraging.
Yeah.
Most most students, university students, would just go there because they want the qualification. But then there you are. You were thinking about change and doing something, an idea that started then or even way before university that is coming to life now, which is really encouraging. Now that you have told us about smart parking and how it was born, you have been pitching, doing pitches here and there. If I'm not wrong, I think there's been, is it two?
Yes, yes, yes. I've had two so far.
Yeah. Kindly run us through the first and the second.
Okay, thank you very much. So, these pitching sessions that I've had, they're under what we call Jacaranda Hub, and this is actually an opportunity for me to share to the public. So, the next cohort is starting soon. So it was sort of tagged as Next Gen Challenge, where we started a number of, I think, 1,000 plus youth entrepreneurs, went through the process of the incubation, and eventually we were only 100 at the end of the journey. So with 100 top participants, it was during the certificate awards ceremony that we are given an opportunity to do a pitch demo in front of the Minister of Science and Technology, Honorable Felix Mutate. So that just gave me an extra motivation to build on how to pitch. It was the first time, and yeah, you always get to have a starting point, and it gave me that opportunity to know and assess myself how well I did. And from there, next Jacaranda Hub went further to now invite us to one-on-one pitching sessions now, which happened today. And these were we had a panel of 3 judges, and of which one of them is the CEO of Jacaranda Hub, and the other one is from the Zambia Business Angel Network, and the last one was a coach and an expert. So the idea was just really for us to pitch, and out of these 100, if you are successful, the next 50 go to pitch now eventually in Livingston to be awarded the 50,000 kwacha funding. So far the experience has been great. I'm just hoping that I got my message across, and should the funding come through, it'll be plus to smart parking, and we can start from there. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes.
I'm sure the viewers will agree to say one person who knows his works, his stuff. You have it all, so it should be able to go well. Um, what actually caught my attention was how impressed the Minister of Science and Technology was. He was like, you wowed him. The idea was amazing. Then he was like, okay, interesting. How's it when you impress such a figure that most people only get to see on TV? How was the feeling?
Well, first of all, it was an overwhelming experience. I recall him asking me how old I am, and I told
Yeah.
him. Then all he did was tap me on the back and say, "Oh, we have hope in Zambia." And just that, sometimes words do encourage you to take a step further. It's not really like I was looking for funding here, there, and there, but sometimes even the word goes a long way. And if that was coming from the minister himself, it just shows that we as youths are valued, and it keeps the fire burning, and you never know who is going to listen to your message. And I'm glad that I got my message across in a way that you would appreciate the works that smart parking is doing.
Awesome. Well said.
Yeah.
Um, so then, if a question were to be posed to say, at this point, where is smart parking?
Okay, that's a great question. So we've been building smart parking, I think we can say effectively, because we only got to register this company as of 2018. 2018, the whole lot of it was just administrative, putting papers together. And by 2019, we started the vetting process of who to engage to be able to build this phenomenal mobile application. This process was robust, and I'm glad that we finally got a team. I think very brilliant minds from India who eventually put up this mobile application. So I think by 2020, 2021 May, we actually had the product. So if I was to put it simply, where we are at this stage, we are at the stage we call prototyping and testing, because we have the product readily available on our mobile application, except we've not launched it yet. And the reason for this, I explain it further. Maybe perhaps I need to delve deep down into what smart parking is. So we are currently enrolling parking spaces on mobile applications. So we plan to do the launch early June this year, and we are just now working towards the phase two, which is now building it on iOS, because currently the mobile app is only on Android, and that's why
Yeah.
we're doing a lot of pitching so that we have funding. We push it in towards the iOS, and yeah, so it's prototyping and testing. We are almost ready to launch it and start the business.
Wonderful, well explained. There's a question from Jordan Kasitu Selopia. So Jordan says, any demonstration of the smart parking and how is it going to eliminate theft of motor vehicle parts?
Ah, that's a brilliant question. Thanks a lot, Jordan, and thanks for joining in. So, any demonstration of smart parking? Yes, we do. I think most of the pitch decks it's just that the app is not on Play Store yet because we've not launched it, of course. But when it comes to demonstration, so how the app works is like this, yeah. So you have got two users. The first one is the user, the driver himself, and the second user is the parking owner. So would come to you, Jordan Silopia, ask you uh, where you're staying. Do you have available parking spaces that you normally don't use? So you are able to rent that parking space on a mobile application, and eventually you do that. It pops up on our mobile application, say whoever is around that area, they'll be able to see that parking space. So now, when it comes to issues to do with theft of motor parts, what we have done is for every parking space that is registered on mobile app, it has to be in the legal, or the building, be it the house itself, should be in the legal, should be owned by somebody who is actually renting that space, because they have the sole responsibility of your motor vehicle. For our end, we're not selling parking. Remember, we're just a parking management company currently. We are selling space on behalf of the parking owners. So, would approach Lusaka City Council, be able to tell her that things, register those places on a mobile application. Then they take responsibility. So now, when it comes to the safety of your motor vehicles, you are covered on that because if you are parking in a place where you know to say, okay, I'm paying for this, and you have got somebody watching over your car 24/7, you don't expect to come back, you see your laptop is gone, your mirror is gone. It's the same arrangement that I think if you've come across Garden in Hotel, just by Zambia Building Society, they're offering a similar service where people don't want to park in a crowded place. They would go underground and park for a few or 5 kwacha because they know that their car is safe there. That's the goal that we're trying to bring about. Eventually, our business model currently is business B2B. So we're targeting people who have parking spaces to build the demand. Then once we have the demand now, we're going to move from B to C, where now we start now supplying our own parking spaces. Then we'll be solely responsible for any damage and any theft. That's why we're actually investing a lot in things to do with insurance and things to do with because there are a lot of cases like that. But that's a good question. I hope I answered it to a great extent.
Well, great explanation. I'm
Yeah.
sure Jordan is clear. If he has any follow up question, please, Jordan, do type in that question. Um, One of the co hosts, Uncle Roger Charlie, has just joining us from Canada. Hi, Uncle Roger.
Hello, interesting discussion.
Very interesting. How are you?
Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah.
Okay. How's the weather that side?
Oh, well, it's always cold in Canada, as you know.
Is it minus or positive?
No, plus two actually,
It's plus two.
Oh,
Okay, for you it's which is great.
which
So
is
Uncle
good.
Roger, thanks for joining us. We're here with Dabisan. Um in case you have anything, please come in.
Yeah, I'll ask a question. Let me get to enjoy
Okay.
some more.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Anchorage.
You're
Is it?
welcome. You're welcome. Good
Okay.
job.
yeah.
Thank you.
So Jordan here says, well explained. It would be great if you can consider having your wholly owned parking space. Wow. Okay.
Yes, great, great.
So then now, you explaining where smart parking services limited is at this point. Obviously, the other question running through the minds of the guests, or rather, sorry, the viewers is, where do you see it going, and what is the vision? What would you like to see and achieve in the long term with smart parking services?
Oh, that's a very good question. So when it comes to vision, our vision really is to create a to contribute and promote sustainable smarter cities through use of advanced technologies for the efficient monitoring and management of parking. And the end game of it all is really just to automate parking at all. Trust me, driving in crowded cities can be very stressful. Even when your journey has just come to a brief end, you're thrown into another frustrating experience of trying to fight for parking. Now, sadly, this is not an isolated event. It leaves drivers or users second guessing themselves whether to visit a store or not. And so far, research proves that people, when it comes to their shopping places, they usually attend out by the fact that if they experience bad parking experience at the first time they visited that store, eventually the next time they won't go to that store because there's always that parking problem. That affects revenue for the particular mall or store eventually, and also bad ratings. So when it comes to now the issue, the vision that we're trying to drive a smart parking, really there are only 5 key items that we're looking at, and these are the 5 pointers that we intend to achieve bit by 2026. The first one is to create a peer-to-peer parking environment, and this is very critical. You cannot solve the parking epidemic just by virtue of you offering parking spaces on the ground floor. It's just not enough. The cities are growing, a lot of cars resulting in increased congestions, pollutions, and mind you, according to UN, 7 million people die each year from pollution. Now we can lower that number we can lower that number if by transforming the way parking works. The second end game that we're trying to look at as smart parking really is to tap into their news parking driveways. There are a lot of residential houses that have got driveways which are idle. If they are able to rent those driveways on our mobile applications, we are decongesting the city. The idea is to create more parking spaces. So we are trying to create a marketplace for private homeowners. And also the third point really is to create passive income. If you're a retiree and you have a house that you don't have all the spaces you're not utilizing, why not earn money from renting out your parking spaces to us? Or with smart parking, you can not lose money. You can only make money as the parking owner. And we're trying to be environmentally friendly and economically sustainable, because our system or our service does not involve, a lot of cost, maybe cost maintenance costs, any issues to do with the green gases. So we're trying to work on our UN SDG 11 and 13, climate control and sustainable smarter cities. That's our drive. And lastly, like I already mentioned in our vision and mission statement, we want to automate parking. Way from navigating you to the nearest parking, to parking itself through QR codes and IoTs, to making payments. People should not struggle to pay for parking. Last time, the same company that I made mention of, Garden Inn Hotel, you'd find you park your car there, come back when doing your shopping, you try to make the payment in those ticketing system, and you only have one note, 100 kwacha. You slot it in, it keeps rejecting it, and you find there's a lot of stress. You don't have change. Sometimes the note is being rejected. You have to exchange it with somebody so that it just works and gives you change. We don't want that. We want to even our mobile application. You have got payment options within the app itself, where people can make payments using mobile money options as well as Visa card. You don't need to stress about how to make payments. And lastly, is you retrieving your car. Everything is about automation. And I think that's the 5-year vision that smart parking is trying to work on.
Wow. There's a
Yeah.
comment that came in from I think Dr. Susan Sishumba, who said great discussion, Dabi.
Okay.
Yeah, this is interesting. So it's glad it's a good thing and exciting that people are finding this to be exciting and insightful.
Thank you.
Uncle Roger.
Yeah, I'm following. Good job, Dobson. So maybe you've covered this area already.
Mhm.
So how I, I come at a parking spot. Number one, how am I paying you? And number two, why am I not just coming in the vehicle? I drive off without the full without paying the full fee. Um, Maybe those are some of the things I missed because I came late. So how do you charge me? Is it per 30 minutes, per 15 minutes? How do you release me from the parking lot? The parking lots,
Okay.
like you've talked about the one underground. I parked in one
Yes.
of them. There is a security place. So
Uh-huh.
all other places are going to be renting. How do you release me from there? Because they may not have those functionalities.
Okay. Thank you so much for that question, Roger. The way it is that when we are selling, when our homeowners or parking owners are selling their parking spots on our mobile applications, there are two methods that our system takes in. Is either we ask the question, do you take in fixed, is it a fixed rate or is it a variable rate? So you'll find that there are places, let's say, where taxi drivers park. The whole night, they're just going to pay 10 kwacha the following day
Right.
to come and retrieve their car, because there it's fixed regardless of the time. Even in
Mhm.
town, Lusaka City Council, it's 5 kwacha, 10 kwacha. But then there are places like even Garden Inn where it's variable, airport is variable, because once you are registered on and upon entry, the timer starts, and the time that you're coming to retrieve or put in that ticket, it tells you to say the place that you're parking is variable, and per minute you have got 5 kwacha minimum, then it starts to accumulate. So all those are integrated upon registering a parking spaces, and once those parking spaces are registered, you as the user on your interface, when you're going to select, it will tell you to say so here is a 1-2 step of how the mobile application works. So when you sign in as a user, right? Once you open the mobile app within your area, if it's Canada, it pinpoints to the area of location that you're in. Then it tells you around your area where parking is available. So if you're going to the mall, it will tell you which parking space you want to take. And upon
Mm.
clicking on that parking space, it tells you it will take you 3 minutes to reach your parking space, and it's 15 kilometers. Do you want to be mapped? So now the mobile application has got the navigation ability to map you to the parking space. So once you got your parking space, now when you arrive at the parking space, you'll be greeted by the way you have got a traditional way of a ticketing system. There you'll be greeted by either the officer who just scans your code. We don't want to prolong, the process of getting tickets. So once you reach the place, it tells you to say you've arrived parking so. Note that the fee is 10 kwacha and it's fixed. Do you want to park? Once you say yes, it will say scan code, and the code will pop up. That's where now the parking owner or the officer comes. He just scans your screen and it registers your entry level. Once you do that, it has confirmed that you've parked, right? Upon you coming back to retrieve your car when you're exiting, it's the same process. You're exiting, you exit and you scan the code. Then it tells you your bill is only 5 kwacha because it's a fixed charge. How do you like to pay, sir? Is it cash or is it thing? But we're trying to eliminate cash whatsoever. So it will tell you mobile money options or Visa card, and you pay effortlessly, and thereof you drive off. So whether it's variable or fixed pay is up to the parking owners. Because then upon registering their parking space, they'll tell us to say, we want it fixed because of this area. Yeah. Then another
Wonderful.
interesting fact, yes, okay, please go.
No, I said wonderful, wonderful. Go ahead.
Uh, okay, and another interesting thing is that we're also trying to bring about change when it comes to malls, because malls lose a lot of revenue from the parking experience. If you know that this mall usually has traffic, or it's during peak hours like this, you would eventually want to even get your foods or your groceries from a different store. But we are also trying to engage in malls to say, look, we understand that parking is free, but how about you give us a try? Just give us 15 spots, and these spots we're going to be make sure they are exclusive, in that despite parking being free on malls, these ones it will be a parking fee. This will not only drive sales for the particular mall, because people would want to go there because they know, I know it's free, but if I'm willing to pay for a 15 kwacha to where my car is safe and it's convenient, there will always be those individuals that are willing to pay that. Eventually it drives sales for the mall itself. It also drives revenue, because they get revenue. We are just getting a commission for having their parking space on a mobile application. So it's that simple, like that, how a mobile application works.
Mhm.
Yes.
So is it? Are you in the operation already? Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're currently not in operation, but we are at the stage what we're calling prototyping and testing, because we've been building this mobile application for 1 year now to get all the steps right. Unfortunately, right now we are only on Android. That's why I've been very busy with pitching, because we are trying to get funding to also build the next phase now on iOS, which is Apple, people who are using iPhones. So what we've done is that we plan to launch early June, because right now we are on a process that we are enrolling parking spaces. So every time we're pitching to parking owners, we've had a conversion rate of about 33%. So every parking place that we pitched out to, maybe they've got 20 parking slots. Whenever we pitch to three, we have one that is agreeing to register on a mobile app. So we are enrolling and onboarding applications, so that time of launching, we have got plenty of parking spaces registered within your area. You'll be, of course, rich. So then we plan to start operations, I think early July, June, once we see how the market accepts. But right now we're doing prototyping, pitching, so that we see if our message can get across.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Beautiful stuff. At this point, we're just going to take a commercial break and we'll catch
Okay,
you on the flip side.
thank you.
Do you want to promote your business on Zambia Broad Talk Radio? Yes, that's right. Live on Zambia Broad Talk Radio. To boost your spot, just make a donation by picking from the following categories. To get started, just call or WhatsApp the number on the screen and you'll be good to go. Live on Zambia Broad Talk Radio every Saturday for one full month. And you will stay on the recorded shows.
Welcome back. So, like from the advertisement, for companies that have products and services and they would want to advertise on Zambia Blog Talk Radio, please follow the information that was just beamed. We're back. Was chatting with Dabison Alzimba, the man behind Smart Parking Services Limited. Um, you've said so many wonderful things and given us an insight as to what smart parking is and where it is at this point. But then looking at the type of business you're going into, is this the first of its kind in the country? Are there some that are still doing that are doing it as well, or
Okay. Thanks a lot. I think that points me out to just the market itself. So I'll start with the market validation. Yeah. So the global parking industry currently is around 6.5 billion US dollars, and this is growing at a compounded annual growth rate of around 14 to around 19%. By 2026, you expect that number really to grow. But then when it comes to now the local serviceable market, currently we are around, we have about 960,000 cars in Zambia, of which when you look at the number 305, around 305,000, 305,000 cars are actually in urban areas like Lusaka and Copper Belt. So what this means is that when it comes to tech-savvy provinces, you have got Livingstone, Lusaka, and Copperbelt. So currently, we already have a serviceable market of that number. Talking about companies that are already doing it, we had one company called Parkride Zambia. I don't know if you've heard about it. They are the ones that had gotten the Lusaka City contract to manage parking on behalf of Lusaka City, but then I think the contract was revoked due to I think inadequate revenue collection. So those are the biggest competitor then. They had I think the parking spaces, they had the capacity, and yeah, I don't know where they are currently, but I know that they're still offering a bit here and there. Then we've got this hotel which I've been calling Garden Inn Hotel. They're just offering sort of like additional services just to people to take on parking in a safer place, but their capacity is limited to the building or the Zambia Building Society complex. So currently, I can say that in the country, it's just Parkrite and Smart Parking, and this is where we decided to learn from our competitors. Like I mentioned earlier, the parking epidemic cannot be solved just by merely offering parking spaces. We need to create more parking spaces. That's the true solution. And this is where smart parking comes in. One, our service allows people to register parking spaces, unused parking spaces, which increases the parking capacity. And remember, I had mentioned earlier to say our business model right now is B2B, but eventually we plan to bring in what we're calling smart parking systems. So imagine, Kasuluva, a place that you'd normally park one car, if you're able to maximize it to about 16 to 32. Wouldn't that
Mhm.
be amazing? So
Very, very amazing. Yeah.
these systems we're calling them rotary parking system, in that your car is driven in, it's assigned a slot, and just like that, until all the 16 slots are done, just one mere space. So these you see eventually they'll be planted around town. You find it at the filling station, take up 16 cars, you find it in downtown. All these locations and coordinates have already been mapped. So that's where we're going towards to. So when it comes to now the app itself, it's amazing, Kasulova. This is not something that I'm just trying to boast, because it has taken us a lot of investments. We've been financing it ourselves, and of course, we have got two shareholders who have, pumped in a bit of financing. So you find this mobile application. One the four distinct features that it has. First of all, is the app itself. It's brilliant from navigations to parking exit. The second option is integrating in a sort of payment options APIs within the application itself, and also navigation features. And eventually, you will have the power eventually to reserve parking. You don't want to start off a journey knowing that you don't even know where you're going to park your car. So how amazing will it be that you can actually reserve parking in advance before you even start your journey? That's the direction that we're headed to. So I would say that it's a great market. Who would want to tap into a $6.5 billion market? You have to give it a shot and see how you can be of a contribution to your community. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well explained. There's a question from Fidelis Muka, or rather, there are questions by Fidelis Muka. He says, first of all, wonderful idea indeed. One, will the app be able to let customers know whether it's a fixed or a variable before they choose which lot to park?
Yeah.
Then the second question is, how will you protect people's credit card payments processed?
Ah, those are brilliant questions. I'm glad you're really following the conversation. So, the first question, yes. So the mobile application, upon arrival of the parking slot, it will tell you to say you've reached, maybe I would say Fidelis parking garage. Do you want to park? Once you click yes, it will tell you to say the charge here is 10 kwacha and it's fixed. The other parking space where it's variable, it will tell you to say the charge here is 10 kwacha per maybe per 7 hours, and eventually starts to increase or something like that. So it will guide you whether it's fixed or variable. Coming to the second question about protecting people's credit cards, we had really we had a lot of thought process on what to do to integrate payment options, and we're glad that we found a payment gateway that is already servicing clients right now. I don't know, Fidelis, if you know about Zazu. So Zazu is also just sort of like a virtual Mastercard. So whom we've partnered with is Flutterwave. So Flutterwave offer payment gateways to be able to help people make payments using mobile money options as well as Visa cards. And I'm sure with research, where Flutterwave is standing. It's servicing Zazu, it's servicing a number of clients, and those are our preferred payment gateways whom we have as our partners. So they are offering the payment gateways to be able to protect people's credit card details. So you're very much safe when it comes to payments.
Brilliant. Well
Yeah.
explained. You have actually made mention to say it's been self-financed, really, except for before I move on with that. Madam Patricia Chapel says good initiative.
Oh,
So
okay.
people are loving this study. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So you have made mention to say it's been self-financing, right? Most of
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
How has that been? An application,
Uh,
first of all, that's going to pick where am I going to park and things like that, and how we're going to pay and all that. How has that been? How
it's
financially?
been tough. Huh? It's been tough. If I can tell you that, I don't even remember. It's been a crazy experience, honestly, because ideally you have got this day job that has to finance your renters, has to finance your little business, because businesses are like a child. Once you start it, you have to grow it, give it milk. So it's been very overwhelming on my part. I wouldn't say that I'm attending financial freedom anytime soon, because there's a lot of investment that has gone into. But I'm just glad that I've got a very, brilliant partner. Precious Goes, I have to always mention her name. So we've been financing this project, just the two of us, out of our pay bits. And also, luckily enough, we had two shareholders that came on board. These shareholders, we pitched to them. It was even in the early stages, and they saw through the idea. before we even developed the mobile app, and they injected in some financing, of which we sort of did some equity financing to be able to give them a bit of shares and utilize that money as part of the mobile application. Because as I mentioned earlier on, the technical team currently sitting in India, so even the billing was in US dollars. Imagine being charged a rate per hour, and we had this proposal, and we actually making payments in dollars. So every time the dollar would go down, I was like, oh, I think this payment is going to hit my pockets really deep. So it's been hard, but eventually it's just a time. You take a step back, finance what you can, and you keep the idea going, because that's the process. Like, I think it has been really a tough journey, but we're almost there. At least we have the app now on iOS and on Android, just pending further financing to put it up on iOS before the launch, which is June.
Uh, Amazing. People are glued. People are loving this and they're following. Wiza says great initiative. Mwamba Chipungu as well says a great job. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're doing amazing. Fidelis again says excellent. If you like, I suggest following or searching a company called Central Parking, should be based in the US, for best practices or other ideas.
Thank you very much. That's very informative. Yeah.
Wiza Musinga has a question. He says, is there still for more small shareholders?
Well,
Is there a room
yes.
rather?
Yes, okay. Room is there. And this was on purpose. So even in terms of, we have a lot of unallocated shares, pretty much for angel investors, potential investors who have gotten, our message and believe that our business is scalable and very viable. We are taking on investments, but it has to be, so to some extent, something that meets our, our criteria to be able to, start lodging in agreements to Pakra, just for the sake of, so yes, we are offering shares currently to potential shareholders, people who are willing to invest actually.
This one is actually similar to what Wiza asked, which is saying, is there still an opportunity for more investors or partners? And is the app free? Maybe you may answer the part where it says, is the app free?
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes. Actually, one of our asks, even when I was doing the pitch deck, I had only three asks. The first one was funding. And currently, the funding that we're looking at is 350,000 kwacha only for our next phase of the project. And the second ask was around partnership. So far, we just have two key partners that we're approaching. And the first one locally, the second one I can't mention because of confidential thing. But the first one is Lusaka City Council. We want to get our municipal council right into this, because they are the ones, at the heart of this. If they cannot bring sanity to the parking problem, then I don't see how, as youths as us, are likely to be of help to, the community, if they're not, adopting us. So partnering with Lusaka City Council would be a plus for us, and it would bring us, the best opportunity to save our country. And lastly, we're looking at introductions, and this is now, we now have the new Minister of Science and Technology. So we are trying to really work hand in hand with that ministry, because we believe that the future is now tech. Who wouldn't want to know what the future of parking looks like? So ideally, that's the direction we're taking. And for potential investors, we're looking forward to you. Come on board. If, we're very confident that our business is viable and very scalable. And on top of that, it's economically friendly and very sustainable. We are advocating for two UN SDGs, and that's 11 and 13: climate control, sustainable smarter cities and communities. Yeah.
Wonderful. At this point,
Yes.
Uncle Roger, anything?
No, just Hammer is looking for 350. What is the portion of the share of the company people will take up when
Okay.
they present 350 to you?
Okay, so currently we have got about 20 to, 15 to 25 shares that
Mhm.
we intend to, allocate to the potential investor, and these 15 to 20 shares are attracting at least around 500,000 kwacha. So once or US dollar equivalent of that amount. So with that portion, at least you're guaranteed a 15 to around 20% shares in our company currently. Yes.
That is good. That is good. That is good. Yeah.
Yes, and if also just to add on that, and usually the next question that potential investors would ask is, how do we plan to use this 350,000 kwacha? Well, we
Exactly.
already did
Yeah.
the numbers, right? Yeah, I hope that's something that
Mhm.
can help somebody out there. So the first phase of the project is one. Our plan is to at least have the 33,000 kwacha towards software development, and by software development, we don't have it on iOS yet. So the 33,000 kwacha will go towards software development. About 210, around 210,000 kwacha is going towards hardware manufacturing. And this is now the phase where we're trying to maximize packing capacity. We've already singled out a potential partner who are offering us these same rotary packing systems, and that's the range of the amount that they're looking for at least a good quantity of those systems. And I think around 5k we try to at least allocate this towards office and infrastructure, and the last 90,000 kwacha, this will go towards R&D, marketing, and personnel costs, because we know the heart of the company right now is towards marketing and a lot of research and development. So that's how we plan to allocate that 350,000 kwacha. So if somebody has that amount and they feel that they're confident in our idea, trust me, you expect a very good ROI on your shareholding as well as your investment.
You mentioned the technical team is in India. Um, on the ground, we are not. We don't have yet enough qualified people who could have assisted.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that question. So I think the selection criteria was open to the public because,
Right.
as you're aware, we're trying to save the community, and this is Zambia. So we had sent up recommendations for programmers as well as people who are into software development,
Mm.
and we got a very overwhelming experience. And after the vetting process, a lot of consultation, eventually you have to go for the great team. And it just unfortunately or sadly happened to be this brilliant company that we're calling Flaxbyte, who happened to have the capacity and also in terms of the pricing. And that's how they managed to get the job, and eventually also agreed to be our technical support on the board. So right now we are also trying to still, sell the idea to Zambians. Say, do you have the experience in this software development? Because we want to also have a local team, based here in Zambia.
Right.
Where there's a problem, we can't always go to India, right? So we
Yeah.
are also trying to build a local team to be able to offer that support. Thank you so much for that question.
Well. Yeah, because
Interesting.
I'm also using Indians all the time. So I wish our people in terms of even delivery, they are able to do something. We are able to step up. But
Exactly. Yeah.
back home, people will tell you they will do it, and
Yeah.
then it is one day into another, or another day into another. But good job,
Thank you
good
very
job so
much.
far. Yeah.
Thank you.
Like Uncle Roger is saying, just the same way that there's this brilliant idea, smart parking. It's high time that we also had our very own that are able to develop these things. So, which would make it even easier and cheaper. Imagine if you were working with a local person, trusted and all that. It would make things way better and way easier. Yeah.
Yes.
The other question, even as we're about to come to the end, is obviously what you have already explained. But before that, Mbolela Taylor is it Pule, says splendid.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, so lots of people are
Thank
loving
you.
it. Yeah. Kosa Mukasonso says, great discussion, Dabi. What's the financial incentive in offering parking space to your company when the parking space owner bears 100% responsibility if anything happens to the car?
Okay. That's a very brilliant question, Kosam. So to answer that question, so the the we have got two models. Okay, the first one I explained is where we have got parking owners that rent their parking space on a mobile app. So what we have the agreement with them is that we don't take sole responsibility, because what we're trying to do is give them revenue or sort of business. So we are on a commission base because we are not selling any space at the moment. We are just managing somebody's parking space more efficiently and more productively. Indirectly, that is driving towards sales to that person, because with our mobile application we're giving people real-time visibility. So our mobile application customers got a timer, right? So if a parking space that you're going to says there are 20 available parking spaces, as the QR codes are being scanned, and eventually we also plan to bring sensors which are more accurate, as the cars are being scanned and they're parking, the timer keeps counting down. So eventually, if you see that there's only one parking space, and or maybe eventually there are no parking spaces, there's no need of you going to that parking spaces. But the challenge that mobile parking owners have is that they would say that we have people who always park at our place. They know this place, but sometimes you find those parking garages are not filled up because people don't know. Only those people who have always been parking there know about it. But with our mobile application, we're giving them visibility. Say, actually that parking space is not full. There are still five remaining. This is lost revenue on the parking owners. So we are just setting the idea to them. How about we give you full-time visibility? And we're just charging you 30% or be 20%, because the split is 80/20, which means that the parking owner takes the whole, the 80%, earns himself passive income, and we just get the commission based. But then we have got the second phase, which is now the hardware manufacturing that I mentioned, which is now us smart parking, offering our own parking spaces. Now that's where the beauty comes in. We take full responsibility because that's now our parking space. We want everybody, if something goes, wrong, we have to take the responsibility, but not where we're selling parking space on behalf of a parking owner. But that's also something that is currently in discussion. And yeah, I hope I've tried to answer the question about the two different types, where we are offering managed parking management services and where we are actually offering parking services. Those are two different, sites.
Um, Wonderful.
Yeah.
Dabi, like you have made mention, you're looking for investors, you're also looking at funding. How would you like stakeholders to come in?
Okay. Currently, we're looking at, we can call it, I don't always believe in grants, because sometimes grants, they take forever. Free things sometimes are not good. So we have got two methods. So it's either equity financing or debt financing. So an investor will come to us to say, we'd like to pump in this much. They'll ask us, we'll ask them, what's your most preferred method? That is it debt, and we agree on a favorable interest rate, or equity financing, where we allocate some shares to them. So it's really based on the investor's preference, if they're driven towards debt or towards equity financing. But we're available currently for any methods. We believe that with operations, we will be able to cover and manage debt. But for now, what we really go for is equity financing, because what happens, we get a huge debt and we can't service the interest rates before the principal matures, then it becomes a burden on us. So yeah, those are the two options, but currently, yes, we're taking on share equity financing.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Very loud and clear. We have 3 minutes to go. It's been a great discussion. It's been very insightful. Thanks again for coming, Dabi.
Thank you for
Being a
having
young
me.
person, in a few minutes, maybe seconds, being a young person, any message to that young Zambian out there?
Okay. I'll be very clear and brief. We all have to play our part. And it's true that in your youth, when you are a youth, you have all the energy, the time to make mistakes. You are risk takers. So this is the best time for you to take on risks. Don't always look at the idea to say, okay, what if it fails? What if it works? We all have, we all have to take up the onus of just going in the best, putting in the best you can, and see if you can be of a contribution to your community. You never know who gets your message, So the encouragement to youths or somebody out there, identify where you fit in your community. Try to develop yourself through research and development around your area, and be the best that you can. They say the sky is the limit. Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot that can be said, but you have to know where you fit in. But always try by all means to make the mistakes in the stage like this one. Because trust me, when you start taking on responsibilities, it becomes very hard for you to even take on risks like this. We were funding a project like this one. Like, this is the experience where we're funding it out of our pay slips. What if it doesn't work? That wasn't the question that we're asking us. We just said, I think this is a good cause. Let's give it a shot. Wherever it takes us, we have to build on that experience. At the end of the day, Kasulova, it's the experience that we all need to grow. If I fail to, if this sort of happens not to work, the experience that I've earned from this, it will help me build on the next project. So I think, in summary, before not wasting much of the time, I think eventually it's just the honors to take the first step. And
So
that's
it's
what
not, Debson, it's not even a failure, I call it. Someone said, if I was to invest into someone who has never failed, I will not invest in them, because they don't know
Yeah.
the pitfalls which are there. Ideas, we can all have all these crazy ideas, but
Yeah.
once you walk through them, you are a very different person. Even if it doesn't work, you are not anywhere close someone who has never tried.
Yeah.
So
Well put.
yes. So you are 100%. Right now you are 6. You haven't even launched. You are way ahead of us who haven't launched anything. You are 80% succeeded. Should this not come to fruition, trust me, the next one you are going to build on what you have done right now.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well said, Uncle Roger. Well said, Dabi. Thank you so much for having come through. It's been an amazing show. We look forward to hosting you even the next time when these things have grown to the next level. Yeah, and thanks to everyone that tuned in. Zambia Blog Talk Radio. Catch us every Saturday, 17 hours Zambian time. Till next time, bye. Enjoy
Thank you very much.
Do you want to promote your business on Zambia Broad Talk Radio? Yes, that's right. Live on Zambia Broad Talk Radio. To book your spot, just make a donation by picking from the following categories. To get started, just call or WhatsApp the number on the screen and you'll be good to go. Live on Zambia Broad Talk Radio every Saturday for 1 full month. And it will stay on the recorded shows.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.